contribution to reforestation and beautification in Dominica?
We are going to make our village the most beautiful one
by planting flowers along the roadside.
I'm planting trees at my school so we can have fruits for snack. Yeah!
At the Forestry Division, we are striving to mitigate against coastal degradation. Trees contribute to soil stability, clean air, and pure water.
Building a climate-resilient country requires the contribution of every Dominican. Give back to nature. Plant a tree for your future.
That will be $78.50.
What? All that money for two little things?
And an additional 50 cents if you want a plastic bag.
All you get enough of my money already. I worked with my reusable bag. It's stronger and all I need is one. Or you shouldn't even be giving plastic bags. Or you're not hearing all the announcements from Ministry of Environment then. For the little bit of time we use a plastic bag, it takes thousands of years to decompose. That's not good for the environment. And another thing...
Wait, Papa. Next, please.
My lady, she writes, plastic clogs drains and cause flooding. Animals on land and water can also be killed by plastic pollution.
Opt out of using plastic bags when possible or use reusable shopping bags for carrying groceries and other items. Remember, our environment, our responsibility.
Dominic c'est un pays qui belle, qui naturel. Dominic c'est pays nous. Mais qui ça ou ka fait pour aider Dominic? Nous ne pour protéger forêt nous, l'eau nous, environnement nous et même santé nous. Quand ça change, là où aller faire commission, mener un sac, empêcher pollution plastique. Plus plastique, ça fait environnement nous l'aide, boucher dalle nous, et ça tue bête nous et poisson qui englobe nous. Changer aussi, qui nous n'est pour chaîne là tout nous net. Pas ni jeter zodis n'importe côté, pas garder pour excuse. Pas faire compte doum servi en boîte zodis. Écoutez bien, ou ça même en des beltes Dominique, ou ça planter fleurs pour chimère communauté, planter pe bois qui ça en des mènes forêt à vivre, et pour protéger nous, et puis fruits pour manger.
Good morning to listeners of DBS Radio and welcome to another episode of Talking Environment or Responsibility. This is a program brought to you by the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment. I am the host of the program. My name is Liam Sebastian. I'm the project officer in the ministry. I would like to use the opportunity to say good morning to the Honorable Minister, Honorable Kozia Frederick, the Parliamentary Secretary, Honorable Darren Lloyd, the Permanent Secretary, Miss Lisa Valmore, to all the heads of department, members of staff, listeners of DBS Radio, saying good morning to you guys, also saying good morning to the admin staff at the office, Mrs. Corbett and Mr. Corbett, regular listeners, my mother obviously. And this morning, just want to say, excuse, pardon my voice. I'm going through that carnival flu or whatever it is. But this morning, we're going to be discussing carnival waste management guidelines. So we have folks in the studio with me from the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation. So I want to use the opportunity to say good morning to Mr. Florian Mitchell, the General Manager and the staff at the Solid Waste Department. They're doing a good job. Some persons may disagree with me in recent times, but as we have challenges as anything, and we'll go through that. Also, at some point, Miss Alice Dyremple, who is the Kalinago Development Officer, will join in via the telephone from the Kalinago territory to discuss Tewe Vaval. So this morning, these are the topics that we'll be covering, and we're heading into Carnival, so there should be some excitement. I'm excited, and I'm sure that my guests will be excited as well today and as we head into the season. So anybody want to join in this morning can do so on the following numbers: 1-800-327-448-3281, or on the overseas line 305-432-9744. So these numbers again, 1-800-327-448-3281, or on the overseas line 432-9744. So without further ado, let me just go over to Studio 2 to say good morning to my guests and just give them the opportunity to introduce themselves as we welcome them to the program. Ladies, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Shamara Daisy, and I am the recycle officer within the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, and I want to say welcome to everyone who's tuned in and listening to the program this morning.
Good morning. My name is Anne-Marie John Baptiste, Collection Supervisor at the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation. And today we are here to advise and inform everyone of proper waste management, especially during the carnival season. So welcome, and I hope you will take notes of what we are saying and do as is expected by you.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Anne-Marie and Shamara. Welcome. Alice, at some point we'll check in with you as we talk about the revival. But ladies, it's a hot topic in terms of waste management, and I'm sure maybe we'll have expected somebody to call during the course of the program. So in a sense, let's take them before they take us, in a sense. So I'm sure they will be asking maybe about the update as to waste collection on island in terms of some of the delays. We just saw that we got some new trucks. So I don't know if you guys want to speak on that briefly before we get into the carnival stuff.
Okay, presently, yes, we got two new trucks.
What is your contribution to reforestation and beautification in Dominica?
Apologies for that.
Okay, as I was saying, we recently got two new trucks at Solid Waste, and these trucks are going the long way. But things we expected, area we expected the trucks to go because of the size of the engine and the capacity it may hold, there will still be some delays in some areas on most of those days. But we are trying to do what we can do best with what we had already. So we ask you to bear with us because we are making it our goal to pick up garbage in every constituent, especially during the carnival season.
Right. Well, thank you very much for that, Anne-Marie, and that will lead me to my first question in terms of the carnival, because, as you said, if we are to expect some delays, what is the advice to residents, businesses, as to what should we do during the carnival as it relates to waste?
Okay, during the carnival, usually at carnival, we normally do our pickups as scheduled. Like after carnival, we normally have garbage collection in Roseau area, but also the areas that would be expected to be cleaned on Monday and Tuesday, we kind of make arrangement to have them clean either over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes early Monday and Tuesday morning, because we know most of our people needs to go or wants to go to jump up, so we kind of make plans for that. But in the event that we do not go to the areas, we advise the people to store their garbage, bag their garbage properly, store it, and keep it safe in a cool place, in a dry place. So Wednesday we may come to the area or the next collection day, because we do most of the areas that are done on Mondays and Tuesdays are done on Thursdays and Fridays. So if we do not come Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, we will be there on Thursday and Friday. So we just ask you to bag your garbage and keep it in a container so that the dogs will not spill it and will have spill all over for garbage.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. And then, well, for carnival season, as it's expected, there's a larger volume of, boxes, the feathers, packages itself from both a residential standpoint and a business standpoint. What can you advise the vendors on the streets or in restaurants and so on? Because obviously, as we said, the volume would be larger during carnival as it would have been on regular times.
Okay, during this time we expect or we advise the vendors or the business owners to, okay, you talk about the cardboard. We ask you to break down the cardboard, and then during our collection we'll make arrangement for it. Also, if you have a vehicle and you want to do your own disposal, you could also call Solid Waste and say, I would like to dispose of that or whatever, and then we'd make arrangement for that. But we advise you to store those things properly so that when the guys come, so they will not be spilled all over the road. Because normally when you pass in the evening, you would see a lot of cardboard boxes on the outside. People just get their stuff, unpack their stuff to sell and whatever, and they just place it on the roadside for solid waste. But we are asking you to work with us. Some of you have private haulers. Your private haulers can dispose your own garbage for you, but if you do not have private hauler, we expect you to sort out the garbage properly, so then when we come, it will not be all over the place. But we always have garbage collection every Monday night and every Tuesday night, and sometimes we do pass early in the morning of those 2 days.
You just made mention of the persons can call solid waste. Can you give the number on air so that if they're listening, they can do so?
Okay, if you are willing to dispose of your garbage, you could seek advice from the landfill manager, Miss Wilson, at 616-0035. You could also call my number 613-2459, or Miss Daisy has a number 616-9055. You could also you'd reach those 3 numbers, and then we could advise you what to do.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. So, as you just heard Anne Mary said, if you have the means, you can call the numbers that she just gave. We will at some point go through them again, but just take note. Carnival obviously brings a lot of feathers and all of those stuff, and sorting at source is something that we usually speak about. But from a band standpoint or a promoter standpoint, what advice do you have to the troops and the groups responsible for those things? Because I'm not too sure as to when it gets to the landfill if the feathers or whatever has to be placed maybe different from recycling or regular waste or whatever it is. So what advice do you have to the band owners as it relates to the carnival waste?
Well, first of all, when it comes to the band owners, we want to applaud them with how they go about doing certain things, because now there is no use of glass during carnival. I see a lot of the bands, they provide their members with either reusable bottle that they can continue putting their drinks in, so that would at least reduce on the amount of plastic waste that will come out, at least from the carnival in that aspect. If on the truck they could maybe have a bag or bin that maybe one of their members need to dispose of, whether they have a plastic cup or anything. At least it doesn't get littered onto the ground, so they can make arrangements for that. Like you said, they will have certain costumes that will need to be disposed of, and they can contact the landfill and they can bring it to the landfill. And then when they arrive, or if they contact in advance, proper procedure for disposal of such items will be given to them. And like I already said, having a bin, it assists the people that moving along with the band, because the band is not stationary in one location. So if they have the bin on the truck, then their members can easily just dispose of whatever that might need to be disposed of on there, and then that helps in keeping the city clean and even help promote the sorting at source.
So also my question then, we just spoke about the bands, and if there is a truck maybe following the main group that they have a bit, but in the city itself, there's the absence of bins on, well, let me not say there's the absence of bins, let me correct myself. There are not too many bins available for disposal of waste. What should a bystander do in the event that maybe they have a styrofoam or, maybe a bag of cups or something like that? What should what advice do you have to the bystanders or just revelers in general as to how they dispose of their waste and make it easier for the collection at the end of the day?
Bystanders, one, there are certain bins around the city, so maybe you might find one that is empty, because if one is filled, do not advise that you continue filling it up, because it will cause an overflow. If you maybe have like a plastic or bag that any little thing that your garbage you may have, you can always put it in your bag and transport it back to your home, so that it can get disposed of. So that also eliminates the littering, the throwing of things in the drain, and having a city looking dirty at the end of the event.
we speak about having the city looking dirty. Is collections still going to be done on Carnival Monday and Tuesday?
Okay, like I said, yes, we will be doing garbage collection on Monday and Tuesday, but that is early morning. We'll be doing a mop up in Roseau and Goodwill area, and in the evening time, after Carnival has stopped completely, we always have a crew outside. But then, Liam, I would like to advise the vendors. They can have a bin near their stall. So in the event somebody buys something, or even not even purchase from their stall itself, but passing and they see a bin, they can also place the bottles. If you're the garbage bins, the litter bins we have in Tonga too far from you, you can also just being the vendors have the litter bins around them, they can just place it in their bins. Also, the food scraps, we are advising the vendors to separate those things during Carnival. They could have bags to put their food scraps instead of just people throwing it in the drains, and that would help prevent rats, cockroaches, and things near your stall. So we are advising you to just keep around your area clean and always tidy bags and to prevent spillage of the waste on the ground. So vendors, you can play your part, because we play our part, but we ask you to play your part also.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Anne-Marie, in terms of that advice to vendors. But then you made mention of bins. Are bins being made available, or should all the vendors have been advised to have their own bins?
Okay, presently all our bins we have are out on rental, so they do not really have to have a garbage bin per se. They are the blue containers they can use, like the blue barrels they can use, or anything you have you can use to store garbage, you can put in that. So at the end of the day, knowing you are not going to dispose of your garbage at the landfill yourself, it would make it easier for our guys when they come to dispose.
And I was just being devil's advocate, because, I mean, we have a culture like that. That persons will say, okay, here they are talking on the radio about putting it in the bins, but they are not giving us any bin. And I think that sort of culture maybe is something that we're trying to change, in that waste is everybody's business, because we don't want to wait until we have to go for another Maria and then all the waste that we didn't dispose of properly coming back to haunt us. So I think that is very important for the not only the vendors but the residents as well. And then you made mention on Carnival Monday, so, and the Goodwill and Roseau areas. But in terms of the collections of residential waste, I'm not too sure if there's any other communities that has on Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, on Monday we have a collection. We are trying to have a collection done. Well, that's a tentative schedule we have, right? We are going to be doing Salisbury, Collioure, Coolibistry, Soufrière, Codsed, Point Michel, and Sunday we are trying to do Wallows, Castle Comforts, those places, since they are closer to Roseau. We are having and Goodwill, like I said, Pottersville, Goodwill, Pottersville. We are having collection done in this area in these areas for residential waste.
Okay, so then you're just advising in the areas that were not mentioned, you're just advising them to store properly.
Yes.
Because they themselves have carnival in the other villages as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. In terms of the sorting at source, I mean, we saw solid waste, and kudos to them at almost every village carnival for the season thus far had a float, and the demonstrations were being done by the members as to how to sort and which receptacle that you should place your stuff in. For persons who maybe just hearing sort at source and maybe not paying attention, can we just go in a little bit into what is sort at source and how do you go about sorting at source, as to what is placed where, how it is done, that sort of way, so that at least, we can just bring a refresher to persons as we head into the season.
Sort at source is basically, as the name says, you sort it at the source. So we need to think more than just throw it, just toss it. We have to change the mindset from everything goes in the same bin. And even within Carnival, although we may not be at home, we can still practice sorting at source. So it's basically ensuring that your food waste, your recyclable materials, your green waste, whatever other types of waste you may have, is not all commingled into one. And right now we are trying to turn into a circular economy. We are trying to do more of recycling. We are trying to reduce the amount of waste that is actually being landfilled. And the only way that can occur is to sort whatever waste that comes to the landfill. And currently at the landfill, we have different sites for different types of materials. But as long as everything is mixed up together, it is very difficult to put all the waste materials in the site that is supposed to go. So currently we sort out plastic bottles, tin cans, glass bottles. But if that is mixed in with your general food waste or your green waste or your metal waste or anything like that, then it becomes difficult for us to properly sort it and let everything go in the way and in the place it is supposed to go. So we're just asking individuals, we're asking householders, we are asking the vendors. Even during Carnival, you can have 2 separate bins, one for any sort of food waste, food scraps, your plastic, your paper containers that you may put your food in, and the other for your recyclable materials, which would be your plastic bottles, your tin cans. I know glass is no longer allowed in Carnival, but if the vendor is pouring out the drink to you, they have to put the bottle somewhere. So that needs to be sorted out as well, because we wouldn't want these bottles to even break and injure whether whoever is partaking in the Carnival or even the vendors.
So then a question though, because is the landfill ready for that large volume of waste that they expect or anticipate for the Carnival season?
We are making preparations.
Okay, that's very important, because I'm sure persons will want to know that, okay, yes, with what is happening, that we are prepared to prevent any sort of hazards or whatever as it may relate to that, because with the larger volume of waste it brings looking for the right word, but in terms of fires or whatever it is, it's maybe will become easier to happen with the larger volume of waste. So the sorting at source persons is very important as the Solid Waste Management Corporation tries to dispose and manage of waste in the best way they can. So we are asking for the general public to assist them in that. And I mean, the next question then, as you were talking about hazard, in terms of how we speak about poor waste management, and what are some of the disadvantages of that and some of the possibilities of stuff that can happen. I just want you guys basically to kind of reiterate what can happen if we don't sort at source, if we don't manage our waste properly, if we don't dispose of it properly, so that persons listening can say, okay, well, at least maybe they're hearing some of the bad side of things, so that they can say, well, okay, I maybe have to play my part.
When it comes to managing your waste well, anything that is dirty, there is bacteria in it, and waste is a very dirty thing. So especially vendors, they want to be careful as to how their waste is managed. One, you don't want it to be too close to your food, because you don't want any food to be contaminated, and then those partaking of Carnival get sick because of that. So vendors need to pay particular attention to how they store their waste, and that's why we encourage sort at source, so that there is not commingling of waste. Recyclable materials, if you are placed on one side, makes it easier from when you have the rest of your food waste, and we do not want there to be like a large volume of waste that would cause things to be more contaminated. So we would just like vendors to be careful with that, and if they need any directions, they can always call Solid Waste for how they could maybe manage their waste. I know Environmental Health usually has food safety sessions, so they could partake of that as well, to ensure that the public doesn't get ill because what they were served by the vendors.
Okay, thanks very much, Shamara, for that. I'm going to the telephone because we have Alice on the line with us. So I just want to give Alice good morning. Can you hear us?
Mabrika, I can hear you loud and clearly, yeah?
All right, thank you very much for that. So, welcome to the program. Virtually doing it virtually, and I'm for the benefit of the listeners, you are in the Kalinago territory as a development officer, and we're speaking about waste management guidelines as well as Tewe Vaval. So I'm just going straight into it and ask you to give us some updates as it relates to the subject matter in terms of Tewe Vaval. What is that? What is that for the benefit of the listeners that do not know? And what is something that we can expect in 2026 heading into that stuff, the Kalinago celebration?
Right. For you to understand Tewe Vaval, you first have to understand the Leve Vaval that we had on last weekend. Leve Vaval is basically we're ushering the carnival spirit. So right now we had the Leve Vaval. The minister was the one. We had a water entrance this time. Every year Vaval come in a different form, and it's always a surprise when Leve Vaval gets there because you want to see how Vaval is going to be lifted. So right now Vaval is currently roaming the streets of Dominica. We are in the carnival season, and on Ash Wednesday we're going to bring down the curtain, so we'll be burning Vaval, which is a symbolic ceremony that we have where we bury the spirit of Vaval. So we lift him during the opening, and in the end we bury Vaval. So our theme this year is renewal through fire, releasing the old, welcoming the new. And that basically, again, talks about the time that we are in now. We are releasing the old and welcoming the new. It's a new era. Things are changing, and you've seen the improvement that we have gone through as a nation. And the Kalinago space as well, which is one of the secret spaces on Whitey Kubuli, is one of the areas where we are releasing the old and welcoming the new. So it's the renewal through fire. And we're going to have a very symbolic event on the 18th. And this year, you're going to see a change. We'll have a parade starting. So we have the students, the children from the 4 primary schools within the Kalinago space. So they're putting on a display for you. You'll see the Tetmas, you will see the Sensei, you will see the traditional costumes. So it's something that I cannot tell you about. You have to really come and see it and experience it. We have the Afro-Skills workers will be joining us as well. So the parade starts. And this year, for the years that we've had Vaval, Bataka was the venue, but you know that one of our largest projects on the island, the Kalinago Territory Multipurpose Center and Emergency Shelter, is now being built in Bataka. So we've moved, and now we have dubbed Jolly John's Park as our carnival village in the Kalinago space. So we'll be starting at the top, the platform, which is by the road leading to Jolly John Park. We start there at 3 p.m. with the Tewe Vaval parade, and that parade is going to leave there and head northwards to the end of Bataka. The children are going to be there, very lovely display. After that, we now break out. Children now break out, and we have the adults doing 2 rounds back and forth, going north and then south back to the platform twice before we head down. Then we're going to have a torch presentation. So in Crayfish River, we're going to have the torches lighted. And this is going to really be, if you have to look at the drone display of what we had last year and this year, you can imagine the snake winding road going down through Jolly John Park. So you can always imagine and envision how beautiful that display is going to look going down through to the Jolly John Park. As of now, Liam, I can tell you that yesterday we were on the grounds making sure that stage lights, sound, and the police and everything is there. Vendors checked, road management checked, stage check, lights check, sound check, everything is now on stream because we know Monday and Tuesday you're very busy doing the reveille and we have to be prepared for Wednesday. So we invite the entire population. We're going to be powered by Big Belly Sounds, and we're going to have a DJ Splash to end it with some popular DJs. We have DJ Splash, we have DJ Penko, we have DJ Slim who are going to join us. But another interesting element that we have this year, we have 5 persons who've contributed to Vaval throughout the years, and we'll be awarding these persons. So if you look on our Facebook page, if you visit the Ministry of Environment Facebook page, we will be releasing the awardees throughout the next 5 days. And then we're going to do a separate event to award all of these people. Mr. Newton Tyson, Tommy John, Mr. Bert Tyson, Michael Antoine, and Derek Paris. These are all people who have contributed to VAVAL throughout the years to make it what it is now. Newton is one of those who founded it. He's a founder. Tommy is one that you will not miss. He contributes towards the management of the fire and the burning. We have Michael Anton, who is known as a professional fire jumper, Liam. So you would see him jumping. You can't have a VAVAL without Michael jumping over the fire with his beautiful display. Derek Paris and Bud Tyson have been involved in the Lapokabut band, ensuring that the bands are all set for VAVAL and Carnival in the territory, as well as the making of the coffin itself for the parade. So again, we want to invite everybody. We start at 3 p.m. and we end at maybe 10 p.m. So we're inviting everybody to Crayfish River at the platform at Jolly John Park for Tewe VAVAL 2026. Again, we want to just shout out our sponsors. We had a very wonderful Lady VAVAL, and we want to thank our sponsors, Her Excellency, Mrs. Sylvani Burton, Dr. Korak Frederick, the Kawinago Barona Ote, the Kawinago Council, Dr. Norbert Coffey, Mr. Patrick Hill, all of our staff from the Ministry of Environment and the Kawinago Upliftment Department. We want to say thank you. And we also had the support of our Queen contestant, Sanjay Tyson, who also graced us with her presence on that day. She had a parade that coincided with the Lady VAVAL. And we have two beautiful queens, Dana Grano and Sanjay Tyson, who will be gracing the stage. Well, we had the queen show, right? So all of this too shows the carnival spirit that we have. Two ladies competed in the Miss Dominica pageant. So it's definitely a wonderful event, and we want to invite the entire Dominican population to join us for Tewe VAVAL. We have a new experience joining this year, and the minister is here with me as well, Liam, and the minister will also lend his voice to the support. And he has been on the ground from day one, planning and ensuring that everything is checked and ready for us to go. So I want to say good morning to Mr. Minister.
Hey, good morning, Liam, and morning to the listeners of DBS Radio.
Morning, Minister.
I'm happy to join you guys this morning. Just to say that I only have one message, that on Carnival Wednesday, we would appreciate if people turn out in large numbers to be part of the Tewe VAVAL. Because it's really an exciting experience to tie culture with modern heritage, and also to bring an end to a festive season. So for us in the Carnival space, it's a time we want to ever host people to be part of this celebration, and also to just add some of our value, our indigenous values, to the Carnival spirit. So I want to tell everyone to come out and to participate in this. This year we have it at the George Jones Park. That's where we normally have our cricket. It's one of our premier facilities down in Crayfish River. And of course, it would probably go across to Bataka also and culminate at the park. So this year, VAVAL 2026 is going to be massive. And we want people to come out and support. And we believe that that the community will benefit from that expression of culture and heritage, but also to the national agenda to ensure that we have a good season.
Minister, I want to ask you though, because Alice made mention of Michael, the fire, the guy who jumps over the fire. Is there any chance or possibilities that we'll still see you joining Michael?
It's possible, you know. It's possible. Michael is a gifted guy in that. I suspect this year I'll try something, but I suspect Liam, someone has to be on standby with a fire extinguisher. Because you never know, You never know.
Well, I'm sure PS will be listening, and PS will put those measures in place in the event that something happens to you. So you'll be covered in that sense. So you have what? Today is first day. You have about 4 days to practice with Michael and get yourself ready for next week. So we give you that time, and I guess Alice can maybe add that to the flyer that the Honourable Minister will now become an official fire jumper.
Yes, sir. I thought Michael would be very happy for that, because for years he tried to get me to that thing.
So as you said, we have improvements. So Minister, here you have it. That should be the improvement for this Tewe VAVAL celebration.
All right, Liam. Thanks for engaging the public with us here, and we want to thank Alex for leading the charge in this. As we continue to play our part, that we know that in the Carnago space we have a lot of developments, but we're also mindful that we're not only dealing with concrete and mortar and houses and roads, but we have to actually celebrate our heritage and our culture, and it's an important part of the Dominic heritage. So we're happy for that support, and really call out to people to tune out in large numbers on Wednesday to join us as we celebrate the close of the carnival season.
Minister, just before you go though, I want to ask you in terms of the vibe and the energy on the ground in the Kalinago territory as we're heading into Carnival Monday and Tuesday and Terry Vaval. How would you rate that now?
Well, we always have an extended since after the Similar Festival at Kingston and after Christmas celebrations. There's always a very rigorous, very hyped up what we call the practice mass or the practice carnival. So every night the guys have been going at it. And sometimes I worry because after 2 or 3 weeks of doing that practice, so when the carnival day really comes, they're really exhausted and burnt out. But it's part of what we do. And so there'll be a road parade on Tuesday, I think, with the Carnival Council is also putting up part of that to bring back the older part of the mass, the beggar, the darky, etc., to Chapeau mass. So the energy is it's hyped. People are excited for the season. Last weekend we had our Lady Vaval in Sensi. It was well attended by the local people. So it was a really almost like it was a community-led event, and so the energy is there. But one thing that limits us in that bigger expression is the fact that we have 9 miles of road, and we have 8 communities across the eastern coast. It's always difficult to have a big road parade. So that's why the Vaval takes a different tone, because it is highlighting one community and it takes place in a particular community. But every community across the hamlets they have their own little band mass. So that's happening almost on a hamlet level. But to say to the public that the people are ready, they hype, and it was always a good season, because after that we're going to the Lent season, and it's a more quiet and reflective time of the year.
And Liam, we have really great road. As you know, we have our new road that is almost complete.
Oh yes.
So we're gonna get a chance to really enjoy the road. Even in the night, you have the reflectors, and that looks so beautiful. There are the barricades. I mean, if you have to drive through the Kalinago space now, it's nicer to drive in the night than the day, you know. But I had a great experience, Liam, with what ministers talk about the practice. It was my mom's birthday, and she was having a party. And at 1 a.m., the band was on the road, the practice mass, Liam. So, I mean, it just tells you of the resilience of the Kalinago people. How could you have a practice mass going up to 1 a.m. in the morning? I mean, you have to have a lot of stamina to beat that drum, Liam, all that time.
Well, as Minister just said before we close, Alice, he sometimes get worried, but I guess we will see on Wednesday if the energy is still high, that from all that weeks of practicing and drumming and dancing, if until we Vaval Day, that you still have that high energy. And I'm sure maybe you in the Kalinago territory would be wishing that one of the ladies win the Queen Show, so it would make that celebration a little bit bigger.
I tell you, Liam, so we have so here's an interesting thing, if you look at the statistics for this year's Queen Show, 50% of the participants are from the Cyber constituency. So, I mean, come on. I mean, so there's a 50% chance that we will bring the crown home.
Well, Minister, let's be careful before the judges have to say you're influencing the decision. So let's just be careful. But Minister Alice, thank you very much for joining us on the program. As we said, just talking about Terry Vaval, and well, just looking forward next week. We'll have a little bit more about the Kalinago history on the program. So we look forward to that discussion, and thank you very much for joining us on the program. And we wish you all the best. Also, be safe as you're about to practice your fire dancing skills, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Liam, thank you, and thanks to the listeners of DBS Radio. As we continue to play our part in a small way from the Kalinago space, from the Sado constituency, in being part of the national movements.
Thank you, Liam.
All right, thank you very much, guys. So, Anne-Marie and Shamara, you just had a little break, so we're coming back to you just before we end. And as you just heard the Minister and Alice, speaking about the carnival activities in the Kalinago territory. So as we kind of link it back to the waste management, do you have any words of advice for not only the Kalinago territory, but in those spaces where you may not have regular collections compared to the daily ones in Roseau, and the burning of Vaval and all of that in terms of how they dispose of the waste after? So if you have any advice for the folks in the Kalinago territory, you can go ahead.
Okay. Before I go into that, Liam, earlier on you asked about the trucks and the additional trucks we got. Well, I would like to say that because of the additional trucks, we had some accuracy in this week collection starting from Monday. On Monday, we had a 65% accuracy, Tuesday 75%, and yesterday we had 95% accuracy in garbage collection. Areas where there are backlogs, we are trying to do the collection as often as we can. So we ask you to bear with us, because as we go ahead, one of those days we'll end up having 100% garbage collection accuracy. And then with the additional roll-on and roll-off bins placed in Mao and Point Michel, this is helping us a lot in collection, because we had a serious problem in Mao and Point Michel.
Yep.
But because the bins are there and we have a private hauler which is, hauling the bins, this makes it easier for the guys when they go out, so they do not have to spend that much time on the highway Point Michel or in Mao, so we are able to do a lot more. And another thing, carnival cleanup. We also have our team from Roseau, supervised by Sonia, a group of 6 people supervised by Sonia, doing some mop-up, like hand cleanup, sweeping of the streets after carnival. So that's why I say in the early mornings when we have the mop-up crew, they are the ones who will be sweeping up the streets and gathering most of the litters around for us. So we ask the people to just work with us for us to do what we have to do properly. So do not litter, but use the bins that are along the roadside. And according to Miss Daisy, you can also work with a little bag. If you have a little bag on your side, you drink a box drink or you eat a bake and you don't have a bin close to you, near you, you can just go home with it, or wherever you meet a bin, you place it in it. So that will make it easier for us when we come to collect the garbage.
Just, you made mention of the bins in Point Michel and Mao. Are there any plans to put bins in other areas such as these, which makes it easier for you, or are you just leaving it in Point Michel and Mao?
Well, presently these bins are I think it's just temporarily, but we are planning to also put one in the Kings Hill area.
Okay.
So this will make it easier again for us when we go to pick up.
Okay, and this morning, I wouldn't say it's it's an issue. We were on the street this morning, early this morning, washing the streets in preparation for the activities. And, after we passed on the bayfront and we went to refill the trucks to come back, when we came back, there was styrofoam stuff on the bayfront where we had just passed. And it wasn't even 20 minutes. Now, somebody's going to say, look at the time, nobody's there, because as you say, Sonia's team is always on the street. The city council as well is on the street. If something like that happens, somebody may pass and say, look at the time, there is nobody to collect the garbage. And it just goes back to our responsibility as persons. Because it wasn't even half an hour. We didn't take half an hour to make that wrong and fill the trucks and come back. And then the truck had to go back on the edges again to be taking off some of the styrofoams. Wherever they came from, I don't know, but they were not there when we would have passed. So it goes back to the responsibility of persons in managing waste. And as you said, somebody may say, I'm not going to leave my home with a bag for me to dispose of waste, but they're receptacles around town, so you can use it. But I always say it's like slavery mentality for us, that we need somebody for whip on our back, because when we travel, we don't have those issues.
Exactly.
So it just goes back to that, and that's my opinion. Anybody wants to to go against it, that's fine. But that is my
Facts.
opinion, what I'm seeing and what I believe. So I mean, the other issue that I foresee that solid waste may have is that the timing of the collection on carnival days. You know, we have the big trucks, and sometimes they kind of take a little time to move out of the city. Is there a particular time that the Solid Waste Corporation is expected to be cleaning up the streets at the end of the carnival days?
Okay, carnival ends at what time again?
To be honest, I'm not sure if it's still 11 on Monday or if it's 10. I don't know.
But
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That part for Monday, I know Tuesday is 10. I'm not too sure as to Monday. I didn't hear. So
Okay.
I'm not too sure.
Okay, like I said, usually we always go after the jump up about 12 o'clock in the night, right? Just call it next morning. So with the big trucks working at those times, we normally do the upper areas in Roseau at first, because seeing that the lower area would be very crowded, we give people time to move out, and then the big trucks would do clean up Roseau, and then Sonia them pass, they clean, and that's when the mop-up truck comes in the morning to clean up again for the next day.
The recycling standpoint, I want you to give a particular appeal to not only vendors, but in terms of sorting at source, as it relates to the recyclables and all that. Because yesterday, we had a very nice presentation ceremony, prize giving ceremony, the Solid Waste Management Corporation, where some of the schools were recognized in terms of their the bottles and ensuring that they dispose of the bottles properly. And it was refreshing to see that at least they are starting, at a very young age to do that. But then there's a gap. So I don't know if you want to speak a little bit about that, particularly bottles, the plastic bottles that will be in a larger volume during the carnival season.
Okay, so in relation to plastic bottles and even tin cans, many may be aware that this has a competition that has been going on since about 2024 with different schools where they have to collect plastic bottles, and the school with the highest number, then prizes are given at the end of it. So like you mentioned yesterday, Liam, we had a prize giving ceremony. This is the second one, where schools won based on the amount of bottles they collected within their school system. And during Carnival, there is a lot of bottles that will be around. So regardless of whether it's vendors, when if they sort their waste properly, and regardless of whether it's people partaking in the Carnival that would have hold their waste to bring home, even the bands, if they have a bin on their truck and the waste is sorted properly, they can do one of two things. You can decide to donate it to one of the schools within a competition. So you don't necessarily have to bring it to the school. You could also bring it to solid waste to inform that, okay, the bottles that came from my establishment, I want to donate it to X, Y, and Z school. Because the competition is still ongoing, and the children are doing such a great job at that.
Agreed.
They have collected over 1 million bottles in the first instant, and that was able to be shipped out of Dominica. So the more recycled materials we can get out or repurpose, that saves on our landfill space, that prevents it from being littered into the oceans, the rivers, because at the back end we will get it back into our system, because if the fishes eats it, we eat the fish. So now we have plastic inside of us, and that is not healthy. So vendors, participants, bands, your recycled materials, you can always bring them to solid waste. And if it is sorted properly, when the truck comes to clean at the end of Carnival, it can go into its respective place at the landfill. So that's why we're asking for the assistance from everyone.
I want to make mention of the Clifton School. They didn't win, but as we're talking about waste disposal, listening to the presentation, and I heard Clifton School had 26 students. And in a period of time, they collected 18,000 somebody bottles. I think that is to me, they should have won, because that's a very small school, and if they can do contribute so largely towards the recycling and all of that.
Just imagine what
everybody else can do.
do.
And 26 people, and I want to big up all the schools, but that particular one stood out to me because of the size of the school and the amount of students that were there. It was only number of students were only 26, and they collected 18,000, and they put the school which won was maybe just 1,000 something more, and they had a larger population at the school. So big up to all the schools, the students, the parents, and we just want the general public to kind of fall in line as to what we're doing, because waste is not my business or solid waste business or NEP's business. It is everybody's business, and we only react when we have situations where it kind of is desperate. And by that time, it's almost too late for us to do anything. So we just want persons, and we're appealing to persons to, just join with us. Sort that source. At least try. Make an effort. It will assist with, the disposal, the collection, and all of that. And that's my appeal to the general public. But then, just one of the last questions, though. Is the solid waste float with the trucks going to be on the parade on Monday?
The solid waste truck would be at the parade. Is it Monday they have in the...
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, parade is Monday,
trucks?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have been participating in most of the carnival openings across the island. First time ever solid waste has a truck outside, basically demonstrating and encouraging sorting at source. So you would see the truck filled with bins all around it, 2 different color bins, yellow and grey. One for your general waste, while one is for recyclable materials, namely plastics. So we are hoping to also join the parade on the carnival day that the parade is occurring for this.
Okay, so persons, you just said it, you can look out for the solid waste truck. Barring any delays, you will see the white truck with a number of bins on the sides, and I'm sure that the persons in the parade will be practicing the sorting at source, and you yourself can join if you have a bag, or so you ensure that your bottles and your general waste is placed in the yellow or grey. And Mary and Shamara, we have just about 2 minutes left, so I want to give you guys the opportunity just to give your appeal and your final words to residents, to groups, businesses, as we heading into the season again. Just to reiterate it, also the numbers that persons can call. I want you guys to give that again, and just in terms of how we move into the future, what you basically would like from the residents and the businesses.
Okay, the event planners, I forgot to say that at the beginning. The event planners, you are responsible for your garbage disposal. So we are appealing to you, even as you set your events, to make arrangements to have your waste disposed at the landfill within 24 hours. Do not leave it there and say the truck has to pass and the truck will pick it up. So we are asking everyone, event planners and revelers, storeholders, we are asking everyone to be responsible, bag your garbage properly, so that proper disposal can be done. Again, the numbers you can reach to if you need special assistance for the days the landfill will be closed, which is Carnival, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you could reach out to Miss Wilson, 616-0055. You could also call my number, 613-2459, or Miss Daisy, 616-9055. So we will see how we can assist you in any way possible.
But just for that, is there a particular volume that you would expect, or because you don't want anybody coming with a small truck or
no?
So anybody?
Anyways, you have
okay.
Not household people. I mean the store, the vendors, and then event planners.
All right. Okay. All right, Shamara, just to close off.
Just to close off, like Anne-Marie said, we need to sort our waste, we need to bag our waste, we need to contact solid waste. Proper planning makes things easier. So even before your event is scheduled or it is completed, you should have already informed solid waste that you're going to have an event, so that any proper waste management, we can assist you from the beginning as to how to to move forward, because waste is not just our business, it's everybody's business. And if you need help, we can also help you. So we just want to encourage sorting your waste, proper storage, be careful and be mindful. And everybody is partying and they might not be thinking of anything else, but you still need to be careful. We would like everybody to have a safe season and to come off on Wednesday better than when they entered on Monday.
All right. On that note, I want to say thanks to Shamara and Anne-Marie, and I also want to say thanks to the Honorable Minister and the Kalinago Development Officer for joining us on the program today. Next week, as we said, Godspare will be discussing the Kalinago history, so you can look out for that, Godspare. And I also want to join Shamara in just that appeal to persons to be safe. Enjoy yourself, definitely. Make sure you do that part, but to do it safely, to ensure that you're not on the wrong side of the law. If you have any beef, any problem, leave that at your home. Come to Carnival just to enjoy yourself. Enjoy the 2 days, so that at least go looking forward. They maybe can extend the time for us, for those of us who like it. So I am signing off. Thank you very much for listening to the program Talking Environment with Our Responsibility. As we said, it's a beautiful Thursday for you to have a good time, and then we turn over to Mr. Good Vibes as Williams will take over.